Come on in and welcome to my review, a recap commentary of Married at First Sight, season 15, episode 16. And this review recap is going to be for Lindy and Miguel. Thank you for joining me. If it's your first time here, welcome. All my returning viewers, thank you for joining me for this last one before decision day, y'all. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video because I love to hear y'all's opinions. But I want to get right into this video. And I did separate videos on all the other couples this week, y'all. I thought the episode this week had enough material for me to do separate videos, and I did separate videos. I won't be doing the after party because they didn't have one. They had sort of these predictions by the other couples. So in lieu of the after party, I'm giving you my predictions on all these couples and what I'm predicting. And let me tell you what I'm predicting for Lindy and Miguel. I think these two have enough things that they like about each other that they are going to say yes to each other. But honestly, I don't think this couple is going to make it past maybe year one. I think that Miguel is going to be optimistic, and I think that he is in love with sort of the image of Lindy. And when I'm going to talk about this image of Lindy, but I think he's going to figure out later on that image isn't enough, and he's going to drop Lindy because I don't think Lindy can change. When I think about Lindy, and like I said in my last week's video, Lindy's a child. She's a teenager. And when you look at a lot of different areas of Lindy's life, you actually realize how ingrained it is, where Lindy is very self-centered and all she does is care about her emotions. I'm going to go back a little bit on Lindy because when I look at what I thought of Lindy in the beginning and what I think of her now, when I look at the different stories, it all kind of makes a lot more sense to me. You remember when they first showed Lindy on the screen, and Lindy was living with 3 other women. First of all, we found out Lindy was a doctor. We was all impressed. But then we found out she was living with 3 other girls. And right away, I thought to myself, why does a grown woman who's a doctor who should make enough money need to live with 3 other women? Why can't she afford her own place, or at the very least just have 1 roommate? Why does she need 3 other roommates? Because Lindy is a child and irresponsible. Lindy has a setup where she probably rents a room and she just goes and gives somebody some money every single month. And that person is the one that has to pay the rent, pay the bills, pay the lights, pay the gas, do all the work. All she does is have to write them a check. See, that's a person who can't handle responsibilities, can't handle the responsibilities of adulthood. So she's just got to give you some money, but you do all the work. That's Lindy. Even when I look back on this thing with Lindy about how she doesn't work, because Lindy, one, is lazy and she wants someone to take care of her. But I also think a problem with it is because Lindy can't work no full-time job. This problem Lindy has with not being able to control her emotions, not being able to control her anxiety, not being able to sit still and concentrate is a problem in the workforce. You can't just have attention problems in your relationship, emotional problems in your relationship, and then all of a sudden when you get to work, it's no issue. No, Lindy can't even hold down a full-time job. She tried to make it sound like it's because it's not what she wants for her life. She definitely don't want it, but I think she's got a problem with it. And it's reason why she doesn't have health care. Lindy has so many parts of her that's irresponsible. I don't believe that getting married to Miguel is going to fix all these problems. And I think in the end, Miguel is going to say, just like Angela Bassett said and everybody else said, what's love got to do with it? Because that's where a lot of people get divorced. A lot of people say, I love you, but I can't be with you. And eventually, I believe that's where Miguel is going to get. I think he loves Lindy. I think he loves the possibility of Lindy. I think he loves what he and Lindy could have been. But he's quickly going to realize that that's a fantasy. And the real Lindy he's dealing with is a no-go. So I believe they will both say yes on decision day. But I don't think this marriage is going to last. I don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe 6 months, a year. But I'm not predicting longevity for this marriage. Because one thing Miguel has shown us is that he is capable of being in long-term relationships. Remember, he was in one for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever. I think it's going to be the same way where Miguel is going to be married to Lindy and eventually he's going to divorce her. That's what I believe. When they showed this scene, they started with this scene with Lindy calling her sister. Let me tell you another reason why I know Lindy doesn't care about other people's feelings on her own. She called her sister, wanting to talk about her own marital problems. That's what she did. She called her sister saying, hey, help me make this decision, just like all the other couples were doing. But when she called her sister was in the middle of, it sounds like, some really things going on in her own house. That sister was distracted by the kids. And then her sister actually started crying and saying, I'm going through my own issues here at my house, so I don't have too much advice for you. And not one time did Lindy express any concern for her sister. Lindy just kept on going, talking about what she was talking about. Her sister was about to cry because obviously that sister is going through something, whether it's with her kids or her husband. The sister was overwhelmed. And what I noticed with Lindy, she didn't even pause. Lindy didn't even pause in talking about herself to ask her sister, were you okay? I'm going to call and check on you. Let's talk after this. None of that went on. Lindy only cares about her own emotion and what her own needs are in that moment. And therein is part of the problem that she has with Miguel, because her needs and her emotions trump everyone's. Her sister was sending out an SOS sign. I saw it. Did all y'all see it? Did you see the SOS alert from her sister? Her sister is overwhelmed over something. And Lindy missed it, skipped right over it to keep talking about herself. And in the end, that sister said, you know what? I don't have nothing for you. You like all the other married couples. You trying to figure out stuff. And I don't have nothing for you. And all that stuff that sister was saying about sometimes you need to show up for other people. She thought that that sister was talking about Miguel for Lindy, that Miguel needs to show up for Lindy. No, what that sister was saying was to Lindy. Sometimes you have to show up for other people, because what that sister knows is Miguel, because what that sister knows is Lindy doesn't show up for people. She's always waiting for people to show up for her. She doesn't show up for people. And what that sister was saying is, I ain't got nothing for you, because you need to learn the lesson that sometimes you have to show up for other people too. And both people need to be strong and healthy in the relationship to help each other. It can't just be about your own mental health and your own strength. Both people have to be healthy. And this is the problem that Miguel has had with Lindy. And Miguel has said over and again, you overwhelm me. You're too much. It is hard for him to be healthy for himself and healthy for Lindy as well. And what happens is, when he is depleted, he is short and he is cursed. And that is what gets the bad reaction to Lindy. But Lindy doesn't see how she overwhelms people and how she wears people out. And all she wants people to do is to be tougher and to be able to take it and put me on your back. That's what she wants. That's what I said. I'm rooting for y'all. I am rooting for y'all. But sometimes you have to learn how to have both people in the boat strong. And she was trying to tell Lindy, you need to be strong for your husband as much as you trying to tell your husband to be strong for you. But right now, Miguel is falling into the same trap that Ben fell in. And that is, he's taking 100% of the blame and responsibility for everything that blows up in the relationship. So they get ready to go to this last supper, this last dinner at the winery, and Miguel falls on his sword once again. And what he says is, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry the way that I reacted and what I did to you. I ruined our last winery because, I was at my wit's end. I lost my patience. I lacked control. I lacked discipline. I wasn't on point, and I wasn't the pillar of strength that you needed to meet. And what he did was he took on all the blame. Now what he's focused on is improving himself, getting stronger for himself. And Lindy gets to walk off in the sunset, just like she's been doing for the last 30 years, however old she is. She's been doing it. And everybody else takes all the responsibility for the situation going bad. And what does Lindy have to do differently? Nothing. Absolutely. absolutely nothing. And it's so interesting because Miguel starts to say, you know what? I know you told me in the beginning you need me to hold you accountable, put you in your place, because Lindy also admitted that this has been a problem in past relationships, that she ran over people. She's a freight train with these emotions. I'm telling you, Lindy is a freight train with these emotions, and she had admitted to Miguel and all of us that she's run over people. So now when Miguel says, you know what, I'm not as strong to be able to hold you accountable, because what he's saying is you are a tough opponent. You are tough and you are stubborn. So although you want me to hold you accountable to try to rein you in, he said one of the things is you're a tough opponent. And second of us, when I do try to do it, you call me controlling, and I don't want to be called controlling. And so what Lindy said was, well, I never wanted you to be like what you're trying to tell me and control me and tell me how to act. I just wanted you to step up when I was weak. So what Lindy is saying is, when I was acting out of control and I'm railing off the wall and off the rails, I never wanted you to control me. What I wanted you to do was to step up and soothe me. She's saying that's completely different. What she's saying is, I wanted you to give me my way. I want you to soothe me. I don't really want you to hold me accountable. I want you to make it better. That's the strength I wanted you to have, Miguel. And Miguel says, oh, I didn't know that's what you wanted me to do. I thought you wanted me to hold you accountable like an adult. And she said, no, I want to be treated like a child. But Miguel is saying, this is too much for me. You're overly expressive. You're emotive. You're all these things. And he's saying it's too much. And let me tell you, I want to get in these choice of words these two are using, because I think they're the wrong choice of words. First of all, I don't think the word to use for Miguel is controlling. I think it's because I don't think it's controlling when you tell a person how you want them to treat you. Okay. I don't think that. I think that's called boundaries, because I really haven't heard Miguel tell Lindy a bunch of other areas in which she needs to be different. One of the things that Miguel actually has done is given her a lot of freedom and liberties. He hasn't made her get no health care. He hasn't told her she's got to work 40 days a week. He hasn't told her where she could go, when she could come, when she could leave. He hasn't even done to her he hasn't even done to her what Justin did to Alexa and said, you can't go to the club or you can't go out. All Miguel has said to her is, I don't want you to talk to me a certain kind of way. And let me tell you, that's not controlling. I don't agree with that's controlling. I think that's called boundaries. And if everybody else wants to call that controlling, then I guess I'm controlling too. Because let me tell you something. I will absolutely tell a person, listen, you don't get to talk to me any kind of way. Now, I'm not going to control you and tell you how to talk to other people. I'm not going to tell you what to change about yourself and how you deal with other people. But I'm absolutely going to draw a boundary on how you talk to me. And if that means I'm trying to control you, then so be it. Then I will take the label of being controlling. But I'm going to draw a boundary and say, you can't talk to me a certain kind of way. And to be honest with you, that is all I've heard Miguel say, is tell Lindy, you can't talk to me any kind of certain way. He hasn't told Miguel how to talk to other people. He says, you can't talk to me. And I don't look at that as being super controlling. I think of that as drawing firm boundaries. But now because Lindy has gaslit Miguel and told Miguel that you're controlling because you told me how to talk to you, now he wants to give her whatever she needs. Okay, well, I won't tell you how to talk to me, because what Miguel doesn't want to be called is controlling. And this is one of the tactics I tell you bullies use and other people use to get you to change. What they do is when they don't like something you do, when they don't like a boundary that you've put around them, they give you a bad name. They give you a label, because now they know that you don't want to be called that label. And so what they do is they get you to change your position because you don't want to be what they called you. And that's what Lindy has done to Miguel. She has gotten Miguel to all of a sudden now, he's just going to accept any kind of way she talks to him because he doesn't want to be called controlling. He doesn't want the label of controlling. So what he'll do now is he'll be less inclined to draw a boundary on her. Well, now she gets what she wants, because now she can talk to him any kind of way because Miguel doesn't want to be called controlling. And here's the other thing. I don't even agree with the label that Miguel gave Lindy when he said that Miguel is that Lindy's disrespectful. I don't really think that that's the correct term. I think the correct term is that she's insensitive and she's self-centered, because it's the same thing I said I just saw with her sister. What she does is not that she is the way she talks to Miguel or gets distracted by Miguel. is because she's disrespectful. It's because she doesn't care. Her emotions are the most important. And even when she was talking to that sister earlier and her sister was distracted with the kids, here is Lindy saying, well, don't get distracted because that's something that Miguel doesn't like. First of all, Lindy, getting distracted from a bunny rabbit versus getting distracted over your kids, it's two different things. But once again, Lindy doesn't know the difference. Just like she didn't know the difference in asking for a selfie when Miguel said, I'm tired and I'm laying on the bed and I'm resting, versus asking for a selfie or a picture taken when he was standing right next to her on that cliffside. She tried to make it pretend like it's the same thing. Like she's so clueless, she can't figure out the different scenarios or read a room. So she couldn't tell that asking for a picture after I told you I'm tired and laying down is not the same as asking for a picture when we're standing on this cliffside and I'm standing right next to you. And now she's telling her sister, don't get distracted. And she thinks distraction is the same thing of looking at a bunny rabbit versus getting distracted because you got toddlers in the house. This girl is ridiculous. Lindy doesn't understand basic fundamentals, and I'm telling you, it's going to be too much to teach her. Because like I said, it's like marrying a 13-year-old or a 4-year-old or whatever the case may be. It's too hard to teach someone all these years. They haven't spent any time trying to make up. Lindy's not even trying to enter adulthood. She don't even have her own place. She don't work full time and she don't pay her bills. She's a child, and I would not want to raise a child and be married to a child. So I think they're going to both say yes, but it ain't going to last, y'all. It ain't going to last. And another reason why I know it's not going to last, because it came out Lindy's mouth herself when she said one of those other things I just said. Does this girl even listen to her? Listen to herself? So Lindy said, you know what? She's concerned because this whole time she's been pushing down emotions and pushing down emotions and pushing down emotions. Like I told you before, if you got to continually push down such outlandish and aggressive emotions, the problem isn't me because I told you to push down your emotion. The problem is the fact that you have to push down those emotions. And where are those emotions coming from? Like Lindy used to call herself the angry inner child. That's not my problem that you got to push down emotions that I didn't create and that shouldn't be here at this age. Go to a therapist and figure it out. But anyway, Lindy says, I have continually had to filter myself and push down on my emotions. That's not my problem that you came into the relationship not knowing how to control your emotions. And now you're blaming me for the fact that you came into this relationship as a 12-year-old. That's not my fault. So she said, I got to push down emotions. And what I really want to do is scream and yell. Listen to this girl. I want to scream and yell. So she said, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go to a counselor and scream and yell at the counselor? Am I supposed to go to my friends and scream and yell with my friends? And then this girl says, what am I supposed to do with all this venom in me? Do y'all hear this? Her expectation of Miguel as a husband is that you are supposed to be the depository for all my venom. And what am I supposed to do with it? Am I supposed to dump it on a counselor? Am I supposed to dump it on a friend if I can't dump it on you? And Miguel sits up there and says, well, I'm your husband. I want to work with you. Miguel, don't sign on for that. Don't sign on that to be the receptor of all of this venom that she is talking about. She has called it venom herself. And she's saying she wants to spew it. So then she said, well, I don't want you to be my counselor. No, she don't want you as a counselor, Miguel. She does not want to get better. She wants you as a sounding board. She wants you to be as a punching bag. Let's say Lindy's not trying to get better. She wants you just to take it. That's why she don't want no counselor, because a counselor would demand change. She doesn't want to change. She just wants you to take it. That's why this marriage is not going to make it over the long term, because Lindy's not trying to really be a different person. She is steadily trying to convince Miguel to be the person she needs, to be the one to be her punching bag, and she can keep on being who she wants to be, work 20 hours a week, not have to get along at work with anyone for longer than 20 hours. Lindy can't even get along at work. That's why she's working 20 hours. I'm telling you, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs. I'm telling you, I'm in the entrepreneurial world. A lot of people become entrepreneurs or work 20 hours because they can't get along in a structured environment. They can't work for a corporation. So they realize, I better work on my own. That's Lindy. Lindy can't get along in a structured environment. And let me tell you, marriage is a structure. It is a structure. And Lindy is having a problem with structure. Just like she said she had a problem with the church structure. She's having a problem with the structure of marriage. And that is a fundamental problem. People think marriage isn't a structure, and it is. Just like Alexis is having problems not knowing you don't go to a club every single week. This is part of a structure. Just like when you work for a corporation. That corporation has structure to it, and a lot of people can't blend into the structure of corporations, institutions, universities, and marriages. But let me tell you what you can't always change. You can't always change the structure. Sometimes you have to change yourself. And what Lindy is saying is, I don't want to blend into the structure of marriage where I don't get to just spew venom on you. I need you to change and be my punching bag. This marriage ain't gonna last, not one bit. Lindy over here talking about chiming in on the marriage of Mitch and Kristen, saying Kristen deserves better because Kristen lays out the blueprint for Mitch, and all he does is have to follow it, and he doesn't want to follow it because people don't want to be your puppets. And what Lindy is saying is she wished Miguel would follow her script, which is, I told you what I want. Let me do what I want, when I want, how I want, and follow it. And then there will be no problem in this marriage. Therein is the problem, because what Lindy thinks is that you can just lay out a structure for people in a marriage, and then people need to follow your structure. No, that ain't the way it works. Everyone needs to change to fit into the structure of marriage. One person doesn't get to stay the same and everybody else changes. That's not how it works. That's why I think there's going to be a problem in Kristen and Mitch's relationship too, because once again, people think everybody's got to change to fit into their structure, and that's not true. You have to both change together. You both have to change. Lindy, she ain't going to get no better. She ain't got any better all this time. And let me tell you, this is a no. It will be a yes on decision day. But I'm sure right thereafter, I don't know how long it's going to take, 6 months, a year, these two will be saying a no to each other, and Miguel will be leaving because he'll realize all the things that he may like about Lindy. It's not going to be worth the trouble. It's going to be a bad deal, and it's not worth it. What do y'all think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Will it be 2 yeses, 2 nos, a yes and a no? And what do you think about what I say about it may be 2 yeses on decision day, but they ain't going to last? Drop down in the comments and then let me hear your thoughts. All right. And don't forget to watch my other videos. Y'all, here are the links. Talk to you later. Bye.